Series on commenting on commentaries. Today I would like to look at my 5 favorite commentaries on the book of Revelation. So as we opened up this series, we made mention of the fact that Charles Spurgeon had a section in his book, Lectures to My Students, a section known as Commenting on Commentaries, which is even sold separately. So it seems like a popular thing to do. My idea here is to share with you what I like. Let's see if you agree with me, you like them as well, or you don't like them, or what you would prefer when you're picking out your favorite commentary. So this is just a conversation starter, if you will. So let's get into it. As I look over my favorite commentaries on the book of Revelation, number one, well, what would be number one? I think I'm going backwards approximately, is The Apocalypse by J.A. Size. Now this is interesting, published in 1900, and this guy is a Lutheran. And I have enjoyed this book. I read it through once, and then I referred to sections of it later. And so I recommend this, to add this to your collection if you're looking at the Revelation. I noticed as I looked at my commentaries, I look at what I have most of and what I have least of. So it's something I take into consideration when I'm preparing a series on a book of the Bible. And I noticed that since the 19th century, the commentaries on Revelation have just exploded. And if you would have looked at the commentaries after the Protestant Reformation, you've probably seen a lot less on the Revelation, if anything, but a lot on the book of Romans. The next one I'd like to mention is this one here called Exploring Revelation by John Phillips. Exploring Revelation by John Phillips. I have 3 or 4 of his commentaries. Got his on Daniel and Genesis, and might be it. But I would like to have the entire New Testament. I know is in a series, and he has several Old Testament books. I would love to one day get a hold of them. Another one I would recommend that I enjoy is something called The Book of Revelation by Clarence Larkin. Now you notice all of my commentaries, my favorite, are going to be dispensational, and I was not always dispensational. I'll explain more about that in a minute. But I like Larkin. Larkin, this book is probably 1919, I believe, when it came out. And he has some very interesting illustrations. He was an artist as well as a commentary on the Bible, and I think he has some great insights for his era. And I like to many times I'll begin with Clarence Larkin and discern from there. Right. Now I'd like to make mention of is I don't have a copy of it. And it's the Revelation of Jesus Christ by John Walvoord. Now I've owned at least 2 and I think 3 of them. And I've loaned them out and I've never seen them again. And if you're a pastor or someone who loans out their books, you know that situation. But you can read it at walvoord.com. And you can read it chapter by chapter. Just about all of his writings are available at that one. So before I get to my favorite commentary, I'd like to mention some others. And one that is not on my top 5, but comes pretty close, probably would have been 6, is a series of sermons by the late W.A. Criswell, who was the pastor at First Baptist Church of Dallas, Texas. And he did sermons all the way through the book of Revelation back in his day, probably the 60s and 70s. Because I think this particular one was published in 1969. Okay, so that would tell you about that. But I still enjoy his sermons. And I've always tried to explain to people that I haven't always been dispensational. I was a preterist back through the late 80s, and I even taught preterism. I taught the AD 70 completion of the book of Revelation, the destruction of Jerusalem, and all that. And I'd like to share with you the commentary on the Revelation that convinced me it was wrong. This one right here. It's called The Days of Vengeance by David Chilton. Now, I was so excited to get this. I read several commentaries on Revelation that came from a preterist perspective. Some of the older ones were like that. And none of them really delve into interpreting it particular. They just looked at bits and pieces, and I was really disillusioned. This was going to be a verse by verse commentary, And this convinced me that postmillennial theology is absolutely false. Okay? And I know a lot of good people that I care a lot about, and I wouldn't say that they're heretics because I believed it one time. Did that make me a heretic? You might think so. But this is the one that convinced me dispensationalism is true. It is called The Days of Vengeance, an exposition of the book of Revelation by David Chilton. Right. Now, on the same perspective, but not necessarily as critical, is an amillennial commentary that I've read and I think is worth reading. It is a different kind of interpretation of Revelation. I found it, I would recommend you read it at least one time, if you're a serious reader as I am. And this one here is called More Than Conquerors by William Hendrickson. More Than Conquerors, William Hendrickson. Now, he is definitely an amillennial, and this is called The Realized View of the Millennium, something to that matter. And I found his interpretations of them a collection of sermons, if you will, and I liked it, but don't necessarily agree. So my favorite commentary on the book of Revelation, and I want to preface this by most of his nonfiction writings I think are great. His fiction writing, on the other hand, not so much. So you say, who are you talking about? Well, I'm going to have to say one of the best interpretations of the book of Revelation is right here. This is Tim LaHaye. This was my first copy. It's called The Revelation Illustrated and Made Plain. I enjoyed it immensely. He also has some illustrations in it. Yeah, I guess he's trying to be Larkin. I don't know. They're kind of spooky nowadays, but I enjoyed this. I disagreed with the interpretation of one passage, but amazingly, he corrected it in this one. It's called Revelation Unveiled. And this came out in 1999, and it's kind of an update. It's not really changed much, but that one passage of scripture early on in Revelation, I disagree with him. He corrected it. What I don't like about this particular one is his use of the New International Version, which I thought was odd coming from Tim LaHaye, who was critical of the wooden sounding of modern versions like the New American Standard. But there they are. They're my top 5. They're my favorites. And I understand that this one has a new title, and I don't know if it's been updated or not, but these were all done while Mr. LaHaye, Brother LaHaye, was still alive. So what are your favorite commentaries on Revelation? Do you like the ones I mentioned? Do you hate the ones I mentioned? Well, get back with me and tell me what you think. And this is Pastor Ty signing off until next time. You have a wonderful day. And don't forget, drink your coffee.